guys, welcome back to our channel Engineering Educators, Engineering in an Engineered Way. Before start, I would like to request you all like, share and subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. I am Pritam with you. Today I will discuss Staff Selection Commission SSC JE for Mechanical day of 27th January 2018, the morning set, part 2. So let's start. In my previous video, I have covered up to question 22, so today I will start from 23. So let's see. Question 23. Choose the correct option for the buckling load in the column of to have the maximum value. So maximum value among the options. So let's see first buckling load PE is equals to pi square E I minimum, where I is inertia, to L square, that is the buckling load formula of buckling load. Again we can say LE is equals to alpha into L, where L is the actual length of the column and value of alpha will change according to the changing support of the column. So let's see. So from here we can easily say PE then proportional to 1 by alpha square. So that is the final relation, and from that relation we can easily say the value of alpha for the minimum value of alpha PE or buckling load will be maximum. So for option 1, both the end of the column is fixed. For that particular option, value of alpha is half. For option 2, both the ends of the column are ranged. For that option, value of alpha is 1. And option 3, one end of the column is clamped and another end is free. For that option, value of alpha is 2. And one end of the column is hinged and another end of the column is, here it's not free, it's actually fixed. For that option, value of alpha is 1 by root 2. So we can easily see that for option 1, value of alpha is minimum, is half. So that is the actual answer for 23. Let's see the next question. 24. What is the ratio of Euler buckling load of the column having 1 both end fixed to both end hinged? So we have to calculate the ratio. So according to the previous formula, we know P is proportional to 1 by alpha square. So from here we can write PE for option PE for 1 to PE for condition 2 is equals to alpha square for condition 2, as it is inversely proportional to alpha 1 square. So that is equals to 1 by half square, 1 square to half square, that is 4:1. So option 1 will be the correct answer here also. Let's see the next question. 25. The thin walled cylinder vessel has the wall thickness T and diameter D and is subjected to gauge pressure P. If the diameter of the vessel is made half of its initial value, then what is the ratio of final hoop stress as compared to initial one? So first of all, we have to know hoop stress, sigma h is equals to PD by 2T. So here, according to question, hoop stress for final to hoop stress for initial. So hoop stress initial is PD divide 2T, and for final D become half. So P into D by 2 divide 2T, rest of all are same. So ultimately it will become 1:2. Option 3 will be the correct answer. Let's see question 26. A metal pipe subjected to internal pressure of 20 kg per centimeter square. If the permissible tensile stress in the metal is 200 kg per centimeter square and the diameter of the pipe is 5.0 centimeter, what is the thickness of the metal of the pipe? So always remember, metal pipe always under circumference stress or hoop stress. So we have to calculate the hoop, we have to apply here the hoop stress formula. So here you can see the permissible tensile stress is 200 kgf is given, which is actually the hoop stress. So we know the formula for hoop stress is equals to PD by 2T. So from that we can again write value of hoop stress is 200. So 200 is equals to P, value of P we know that is 20, D we know that is 5, divide 2, T we have to calculate. So from that relation we will get value of T is equals to 0.25. Option 1 will be the correct answer here. Let's come to next question 27. Power transmitting shaft of diameter D and speed is n here. So we have to establish the relation between power D and speed n. So according to formula of power, we know it's equals to torque T or twisting moment T into n. So again, according to formula, we know tau by R is equals to T by J, where tau is shear stress, T is twisting moment, and J is polar moment of inertia, R is radius of the shaft. So from here we will get value of T is equals to tau into J by R. So J by R for a shaft is equals to tau into pi by 16 D cube. So just put that value into that expression here at in the position of T. So ultimately we will get P is equals to pi by 16 D cube tau into n. So from that relation we can establish n is proportional to P by D cube. So here you can see option 3 will be the correct answer. So let's come to next question 28. Which of the following condition is true for shaft connected to parallel to each other? Remember, for parallel shaft, here option 4 will be the correct answer. That is theta 1 is equals to theta 2 and T is equals to T1 plus T2. But in case for series, that will become then theta is equals to theta 1 plus theta 2 and T1 will equal to T2 is equal to T3 accordingly. So here option 4 will be the correct answer. Let's come to next question 29. A simply supported beam of span L carrying a uniformly distributed load of 2.0 kilonewton and has a diameter of 75 millimeter. So the maximum value of bending stress produced is given 8.5 kilonewton meter. What is the value of span length M? So we have to calculate the length, that is span, that is also known as span. So first of all we have to see what is the diagram. So suppose it's a simply supported beam here and it is uniformly distributed loaded. So the load is given, which is 2 kilonewton per meter, 2 kilonewton per meter, and the maximum bending stress is also given 8.5. So according to the diagram, we know here at the midspan maximum bending stress will generate. So which is also equal to maximum bending stress also equal to, so see, it's not actually bending stress, it's actually bending moment. So maximum bending moment will occur at the midspan of the beam. So as it is simply supported beam of 2 kilonewton meter, so here maximum bending stress will occur. So from the midpoint, so we can see if the span length, suppose it is L, so here we have to calculate the reaction load first. So it's 2, so that resultant load will act from the midspan, that is 2L, 2 into L, that will become 2L kilonewton. So but here you can see it's given 8.5. 8.5 is given, so 8.5 is equals to, we can write that is equals to, so here so it's 2L, so reaction will be L here, L kilonewton at that end, and here the reaction will be also the L kilonewton. So by that only it will balanced. So here, so moment that is equals to 8.5, so that is here we can write that is L, and at that point L into L by 2, that is the distance, minus here also another load is acting at that midpoint, which is L, that is here it's 2 into it's L by 2 into L by 2, that is L load also acting here, so it is L into distance between that two, that is L by L into L by 4. So that is the actual equation. After solving that, so I will again write it. So let's see, it's actually L into L by 2 minus L into L by 4 is equals to 8.5. that is the equation. After calculating that, we'll ultimately find value of L is equals to 5.83 or 5.8, that is option 1. So let's come to next question 30. The change in slope is given by the ratio of area under dash to the flexural rigidity between 2 points along the beam. So here it's bending moment diagram, because it's actually the Morse theorem. So according to Morse theorem, what we know, that is theta b minus theta a is equals to bend moment to M by EI diagram, area of M by EI diagram, that is, so that is option A. Let's come to next question. Question 31. At the triple point, which of the phase of water exists? So as we all know, at the triple point, let's see its PT diagram. It's the solid region, it's the liquid region, it's the vapor region, and that point is triple point. So here at triple point, you can see all the region exist here. So all options are correct. Next question 32. So according to 32, for a closed system is given by dW by dt is equals to 1 by 20 kilojoule per degree Celsius, and dq by dt is 1 by 10 kilojoule per degree Celsius is given. So what is the change in internal energy? So we have to find the change in internal energy. So according to first law, we know dq is equals to du plus dw. So du plus dw. So again we can write it as du is equals to dq minus dw. So after integrating it, we'll get the we get the internal energy u. So finally we can write internal energy u is equals to integration of d, that is integration of dq minus dw. So from here we know the value, that is dq, value of dq is dt divide 10, and value of dw is dt divide 20. So ultimately that is integration of dt divide 10 minus dt divide 20. So here the range of temperature is also given. So range will be 160 to 160 degrees Celsius to upper limit is 350 degrees Celsius. So after calculating that integration, we will ultimately find value of T is 9.5. That is option 2 will be the value of U, internal energy, 9.5 kilojoule. That will be the answer. Next question 33. What is the fundamental unit of enthalpy? So unit of enthalpy is kilojoule or joule. So again joule is equals to, we know joule is equals to Newton meter. So Newton is Newton is unit of force and meter is unit of length. So for force we know it is ml t to the power minus 2, and for meter it is L. So ultimately we will get m L square t to the power minus 2. So here option 1 will be the correct answer. Let's come to next question 34. An inventor start that the new engine has invented rejected 30% of the heat it's absorbed from the reservoir, while temperature of the source and sink is maintained 500 Kelvin and 200 Kelvin. So here two temperature reference is given. So suppose if so his engine is evaluated to, so equivalent to, so let's suppose the engine is Carnot engine. So then efficiency, what is the efficiency? 1 minus T lower, which is 200 divide 500. So ultimately we will get how much percentage we will get? It's 60%. 60% efficiency we will get. So which is impossible for any Carnot engine. So it is impossible. Now see efficiency in general. In general engine, that is 1 minus Q rejected to Q supplied. For general engine, it's the efficiency formula for general engine. So that is 1 minus Q rejected. What is the Q rejected? 0.3% of heat supplied. So that is given. Divide heat supplied. So heat supplied would cancel out. That is 0.7, which is 70%. So 70% efficiency of any normal engine, which is absolutely impossible. So you can easily see it's an impossible engine. Actually the efficiency of any heat engine, it's around 50%, or maximum it can reach up to around 60%, not more than 60%. So remember it. So here option 3 will be the correct answer. Let's come to next question 35. While working as an heat engine, the efficiency is 40%. If the cycle is reversed, the efficiency of heat pump, what is the coefficient of performance of heat pump? So coefficient of performance of heat pump formula you have to remember, that is 1 by efficiency of heat engine. That is the formula by reversing that. So here 1 by 40% means 0.4. So that will become 2.5. Here option 4 will be the correct answer. So let's come to the next question, which is the Otto cycle of an air standard. The Otto cycle of an air standard. Otto cycle is the air standard cycle of. So Otto cycle is air standard cycle of spark ignition engine. But in case for diesel cycle, it is compression ignition engine or CI engine. So here SI engine, option 2 will be the correct answer. Next, come to next question. Which of the following represent the correct graph for relation between efficiency and compression ratio? Suppose it is a efficiency for air standard, any air standard cycle, so which is 1 minus 1 by R whole to the power gamma minus 1 for Otto cycle. So you can easily see for value of R to be 1, so efficiency will become 0. So here for option 4, for value of R for 1, efficiency is 0 here, and then graph will gradually increase. It is curve, not a straight line. Graph will gradually increase and it become like this. So it is the actual curve. So here option 4 is the correct answer. Let's come to next question. In an air standard cycle diesel engine, rho is the fuel cut-off ratio, Y is the adiabatic index, R is the compression ratio, what is the air cycle standard efficiency of the cycle? So efficiency of diesel cycle, as you all know, it's option 1. Efficiency is equals to 1 minus 1 by gamma R to the power gamma into 1 minus gamma R to the power gamma into its rho to the power gamma minus 1 by rho minus 1. It is the actual. Sorry, here a correction. It's not option 1. Option 3 will be the correct answer here. Gamma efficiency is 1 minus gamma into R to the power gamma minus 1. Here just correct it. It's not option 1. Option 1 will be the wrong. Here option 3 is the correct formula. It's correct it just. So let's come to next question. 39. The saturation liquid phase can only exist between, and so here saturation, you can see that is TS diagram. So this portion is saturation liquid portion. So you can see it is in between, it's the critical point, and here it's the triple point. Triple point is line here actually. So triple point, so it's between triple point and critical point, it's the liquid region. So let's come to 40. Which of the equation represent the specific volume during phase? It's simple, it's Vg minus V. Vg, it's minus Vf. So always remember Vg is always greater than Va. So not that option 1, Vf minus Vg, it's Vg minus Vf, option 2. So today we'll end here, and next day I will cover some more question of that paper. For all the SSC JEE mechanical video, just go to our playlist of the channel, or you can find at the description box of that video. So just follow our Facebook and Instagram page also, that is also given, links are given in the description box. So thank you.